Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhishek Jain, and I'm pleased to invite you all to the first episode of the Master of Urban Planning, or the MUP series by Plante. Today, we will be covering a Master of Urban Planning from the National University of Singapore. Towards the end of this session, we would also be having a Q&A session, for which I would request you all to put your questions in the live chat box. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Rahul Verma, a graduate of the 2017 batch from the School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada. He then went on to pursue his Masters in Masters of Urban Planning from the National University of Singapore, or NUS, in 2020. He's currently working as a BIM Executive at Builders 265 PTE. In this session, Rahul will be speaking in detail on the application process to NUS, as well as the opportunities that are available both during and post completing an MUP from the National University of Singapore. I would now like to hand it over to Rahul to begin this session.
Hi guys, this is Rahul. So to start off with, I'll just give a quick background of mine. So I'm from Rishikesh. And ever since my childhood, I was always fascinated with buildings. Like coming from a very small town, you're always fascinated with urban spaces. I guess it's just because like grass is greener on the other side. So yeah, that kind of made me inclined towards learning more about buildings. And I thought of pursuing architecture for different courses, different colleges around India, and I got to know about IEEE exam, which like IEEE Part 2 exam, which is meant for the architecture people. So I wrote the exam, and I was fortunate enough to get a seat in one of the prime institutions in India, which is School of Planning and Architecture. And we just have three SPs in India as of now. One is in Delhi, one is in Bhopal, and one is in Vijayawada. So I studied from School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada. So it's a 5 years course, and I, apart from all the architecture stuff that I learned throughout these 5 years, I also learned a lot about different other skill sets, like maybe like team management and skill development and connecting with others and things like that. So yeah, I guess during your bachelor's you learn a lot about other kinds of stuff apart from your regular curriculum. So yeah, since childhood, I was always fascinated towards working for the society and contributing back to the society. And I felt after my architecture, I felt that if I build a building, if I design a building, I would only be able to contribute to one particular person or family's life. I won't be able to make much of a contribution or much of a difference. So I looked into various fields, and I thought that urban planning through various kinds of policy level interventions, through different kinds of city level design interventions, I would be able to make much more of a positive impact on many lives. So yeah, I decided to pursue Masters of Urban Planning. So I looked around for different colleges around India itself. And I had applied in India, but then the curriculum which I was looking for was not something I was getting back in India. So I had applied to a few foreign universities as well. And I was fortunate enough to get into National University of Singapore. So I'll tell you a brief about the curriculum itself. So basically, the curriculum is a mix of urban design and urban planning. Since Singapore is not a very big country, it's just 725 kilometers square. So the majority of the projects which we do are like the government projects, the live projects, which are going to be implemented in next few years. So yeah, so this gave us an opportunity to work on what's going to come in the future and not just something superficial. So this program is basically focused upon the development of Singapore and the Southeast Asian region, which includes all the ASEAN countries. So in this program, the first semester is focused majorly upon different kinds of layer analysis of urban planning and urban design. The second semester is focused upon a small scale, in terms of urban planning, a small scale project, say for around 10 to 20 square kilometer. And then the third and fourth semester are focused more upon uh, large scale intervention, which may or may not have implications on the regional level, and they may or may not be connected to bigger scale as well. So for us, one of the projects which we worked upon was the transformation of Paya Lebar Airport District, which is one of the air bases in the, I guess, army military, one of the military air bases right now. And in future, it's going to be defunct and it's going to be converted into a new town for a mixed use development. And this was all before COVID. So whatever we had designed till like around February 2020 was very different from the things which we had, thought and implemented after that. So at present time, I feel urban planning has a lot of role in designing of the cities, so that our cities become more resilient in terms of food, in terms of water, in terms of energy and other resources. So I guess currently a lot of cities are planning on becoming self-sustainable in terms of energy and water and all, and there are a lot of policy level interventions in that field. Uh, and this is where like my perception comes in and my area of interest comes in. So I want to pursue a PhD further in a field related to urban food production. So food till now hasn't been considered an infrastructure. So majority of the food which is brought into the urban areas is coming from the rural areas, and that kind of uh, leads to a very unsustainable um, environment. So a lot of transportation, a lot of logistics is involved into that. So over here, the Singaporean government is focusing a lot upon urban food production within the city, and how Singapore could become at least 30% self-sufficient in terms of food by 2030. And that was one of the interventions that we had looked into in our final semester as well. So yeah, this was majorly about the entire program. Then I guess one of the questions the team had given to me was who should apply for this program. I guess not for B.Arch, not for MEP. I mean, if you are not just for these programs, but for any program, if you are applying for any of the programs across, you need to identify your interest in it. I guess what I mean is that you need to be very sure, and until and unless you are very sure about the path you are going to take in the future, it's going to be difficult, because you're just going to end up thinking of it as some sort of set of work that you need to complete, and not invest your own thinking into it. So I would suggest you guys to just maybe take some time off after your bachelor's degree, or even after your schooling, to think about like what you actually want to pursue in your life, what your vision is about the life, and what goals do you want to achieve in your life. And I guess you should just try to focus all your energy upon that. So yeah, the applications for NUS in particular starts around November end, or mid-November, I guess. And it's a pretty simple process. Like I applied back in 2018, and it was all majorly digital majorly from a digital platform itself. So we just had to upload all the documents which were required. I guess we were supposed to produce all the transcripts and all, which I don't know if a lot of people know about it or not, but the transcripts are the mark sheets which are sent from the universities directly to the university you are applying to. They may either ask you to uh, post them directly from the university, or you could post it as well. So apart from the transcripts, you need LOR as well, which is like a letter of recommendation. I got it from one of my professors who I had taken mentorship from as well during my B.Arch thesis. And one of the letter of recommendation, I had taken it from the architectural firm where I had worked before. So I guess what this does is it gives the jurors the idea how you have performed in both academics as well as in your practical life. So yeah, apart from this, you need a very strong statement of purpose as well. So just now I was talking about what goals you want to achieve in your life. So I guess statement of purpose would be uh, this only, like how what are goals do you want to achieve in your life, what is your vision, and how what where exactly do you look yourself in future. So yeah, this is pretty much it, and it's a pretty simple process. You you could just google it, like applications in NUS, and you would find all the details about it. There's a PDF as well which tells you about the entire steps which need to be taken. I guess at our time we had to send a courier as well containing all our portfolio and things, but now because of COVID and all, you don't even need to do that. So yeah. uh, yeah, so my experience over here has been like tremendous. So I guess one of the advice I would like to give all the people who are about to pursue any sort of education, any sort of a higher education, is don't pursue any higher education in the city where you are coming from, which is your hometown. Because if you study over there itself, that kind of personal growth. So what I mean is like I did my bachelor's 2000 kilometer away from my hometown, and that made me much more of an independent person, and I was exposed a lot to different aspects of life. And after coming here as well, after during the course of my master of urban planning, I learned a lot about how to connect to different people, how to network globally. And now I've got like friends all across the globe who I could chat about different things happening in their country, and that kind of like gives you different perspectives. Oh yeah, one of the very interesting things which happen over here, especially in urban planning program, is it's not specifically meant for architects and urban planners. So we had people from urban economics, we had people from urban planning background, we had people from architectural background, we had people from architecture background, we had people from economics, geography, and there was even a person who was from biology. He had worked in the public department for around 5 years, and after that he wanted to pursue policy making in Singapore itself. So yeah, he had pursued it after doing biology honors. So yeah, I guess this means that ours was a very diversified course, which was very interdisciplinary, and that kind of used to give a lot of different perspectives to us, not just about different professions, but from around the world as well. Because designing a city requires a lot of thought about the psychology of people, the psychology of different systems involved in a city. So yeah, So after I graduated back in June 2020, and unfortunately, because of the COVID, I had been unemployed for a few months. But then I feel that was probably one of the very rare times I got in my life to just work upon my skill development and to learn different things. So I had written different research proposals to NUS about different researchers in terms of sustainability and food insecurity in Singapore and things like that. And we were fortunate enough to get a receive a grant recently, which we are researching about sustainable food packaging through agro products. Apart from this, I learned a lot about other activities as well. Got to learn about business development. I got to learn about data analysis. I got to learn about data sciences. I got to learn about a lot of different other softwares as well, which I feel that if I had gotten a job at, immediately after graduating, I wouldn't have been able to learn. So I guess what I'm trying to say is um, even if you take an year off after your graduation or after your schooling, just try investing that time in yourself and learn as much as possible so that you just um, come back even stronger. So yeah, I mean, this was pretty much it. Any general tips for students? Yeah, I guess what I would suggest a lot of people who come from India over here is that they're being they haven't been exposed to the outer world, and they've just been um, yeah, sitting at home like pampered by the family. So that kind of like hampers uh, your stay over here. It really affects it a lot. So I would just suggest you to you know um, yeah, get exposed to the outer world, get to know about people from different areas, get to attend different workshops from around the world so that you get to interact with other people and things like that. Yeah, that would be it. Thank you. So, Abhishek, can we
Thanks a
go
lot,
on
Rahul.
to
I think that
Q&A?
was, yep, thanks a lot, Rahul. I think that was a very, very detailed and informative session. So thanks a lot for that. We do have a couple of questions. So I think my first question is actually something that you spoke about, but if you could elaborate a little bit more on how exactly a student, when in their undergrad, can actually make a more informed decision about, okay, a master's in urban planning is what is the right thing for me, given that it's a very, very
Mhm,
niche master's, as opposed to, let's say, a general master's in just a master's of architecture or any other master's program out there.
mhm. Okay, so my interest in this developed after I worked in a firm. So back in architecture or even in urban planning, we had to go through a 6 months internship, and I would suggest a lot of people who don't have like this mandatory internship in their curriculum to go to the industry and maybe like intern for around 2 3 weeks during their summer break or something like that. And in that process you learn a lot about the practical field and what's happening in the practical field. So that kind of like gives you an idea, and also it starts developing a lot of things. So I guess, yeah, what I would suggest is to go through these trainings so that it gives you a better understanding of what you are suited to work upon. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Rahul. I think that definitely answers the question. My next question is actually with respect to internships and projects that a student could take up during their undergraduate degree, which could help improve their resume and portfolio, and therefore also their chances of actually getting selected into a program at the NUS.
Um, I guess this comes from a very Western thinking that we need to get involved into a lot of different activities. I guess you should just do whatever you feel like. You need not uh, get into like hundreds of different kinds of activities. You should just get into the activities which you are interested in and maybe excel at it. So I guess during interview over here as well, during the application process, um, I was asked about these kind of activities which I had gone through in my undergrad. And I could say, because I'd always been a very social person, and I've always been into, I've always been active in a lot of different college activities, but it's not mandatory. Uh, and yeah, I would just suggest that, yeah, people should just participate in the activities which they are really interested in, and not just participate in every possible activity.
Yep, I do think that makes a lot of sense because there is definitely this misconception that if you just try to get yourself engaged in everything, then that will lead to a better profile, which is not actually true. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
My next question is actually with respect to a career path that the MUP actually creates for an individual. So when you complete an MUP or when you're,
Sorry.
I'm so sorry, I'll just repeat.
Sorry. Yeah.
So I was saying that my next question is actually with respect to understanding the career path that an MUP creates for you. So when a student is going into the
Okay.
MUP program, what exactly should they
Mhm.
envisage their next 2 to 3 years or their life be after the MUP?
Okay. So yeah, that's a very interesting question. So I guess, like, I mean, yeah, in the ideal situation, people should envisage working for the government agencies or NGOs, or different private organizations which are working towards urban researches and all. But then I guess we shouldn't limit ourselves to this, because yeah, I've seen this back in India that we just restrict ourselves to the fields that we have studied. But over here, once I came over here, I realized that people don't do that. People take up the opportunities in different fields, and create opportunities in those fields related to what they have studied. So even for myself, I'm not working as an urban planner right now, because there aren't many jobs in that field as of right now. But I'm trying to work in other fields, and I'm trying to incorporate my knowledge of urban planning into that particular field. So I hope this makes sense.
Yep,
Does this
yep.
answer the question?
Yep, it does. It does. I think, and especially having an individual's experience who's actually doing this program is really, really useful with respect to understanding what exactly should be a career path or what exactly are you looking for when you're going for this degree. So I think that's great.
Mhm.
And I think with that, I do come to the end of the Q&A session too. So with that, thanks a lot, Rahul, for the Q&A session. And thanks a lot for the session itself. Thanks a lot for taking out the time for this wonderful session.
Thanks a lot for inviting me over here. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate this initiative by you all. It's really wonderful. I mean, it's kind of like helps a lot of people.
Thanks a lot, Rahul.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I think I have